happy Sunday drive, Eric.
Happy Sunday drive today. Again, we're recording this on a Saturday.
We are.
But it's Sunday, June 6th is when this will air. So all information that you hear today will be relevant as of June 6th, 2021.
Okay. It's early morning.
Hi.
Hey, so today we're starting, excuse me, we're starting at Target at
Yes.
Winter Garden Village,
Yes.
one of my favorite spots. But today's tour is actually going to take us, it's probably not going to be as exciting, do you think, Eric?
I think it's going to be really exciting.
You do?
Yes, because people want to know. We're going to go to the airport.
We're going to the airport.
I'm leaving, sing it with it, on a jet plane. I'm not. I'm picking up my car. I left on a jet plane last week, but my truck is and I have a truck now. That we'll talk about that. That's exciting news.
It is exciting news. Big news.
I have a truck, but it's parked at the airport because I went to Texas to get my son and our grand dog. Yes. That was the most important part. Because my son, the dog doesn't fly, so we had to drive. I had to drive back to Texas with my son. Well, yeah, that's true. But
Get it?
That's true. But so we're going to the airport to pick up my car. So we're really like doing two things at once, which is we're going to the airport to get my truck, but then we're like, let's do a Sunday drive to show people how to get from Winter Garden to the airport. Yep. Because that's, I would say 25% of the people that contact us when we say, well, what do you need to be near? Mm-hmm. They're like, well, I want to be within 30 or 45 minutes of the airport. Yep. So it's important. So not a lot of residential stuff to see today, but we're going to talk about a lot of residential stuff.
Yes.
But we're going to show you how to get to the airport.
Well, and when we moved here for your job, travel was very important. So for us, choosing a location to both live and raise our family, as well as good proximity to what you needed for work, was important. So, having us chose Winter Garden, chosen Winter Garden?
Something like that.
So early.
Winter Garden was chosen.
It was chosen. This way you can kind of see the route. It won't be nearly as exciting, but we do have a
That's
gorgeous...
not true. It's going to be really exciting.
You know what I love?
What?
I know you can't see, but the clouds off in the distance look like mountains.
You can kind of see that.
See that?
Yeah, you can see.
Well, that always makes me think.
Not.
No, not from there. I'm saying from up ahead.
I know.
Anyway, like all of that looks like mountains. That'd be
they
pretty.
can see that.
Anyway, okay, right so we're going to the airport because we have to. Again, we've talked before. There's not a lot of extra time in our lives, so because we have to make this trip anyway, we may as well make a Sunday drive out of it because we need to do that as well. Because as Eric said, he's been gone the past few days, flying out to pick up our son and then driving back.
So let's talk about why I have a truck. Because the couple reasons, but the first reason I'm going to say is Amy bought me a truck, which was very nice of her, and she's very happy that she bought me a truck because I always got the hand-me-down vehicles. So whenever she was done with the vehicle, longer story, but her father was a car guy, and so at a certain point, we get her a new car because that's just the way he was. And it was actually a business decision on his part. Long story, we'll tell you some other day. So I always get the next car. Well, when we moved here, I had gave up my truck, partly because it got like 12 miles to the gallon and it was kind of old. But the other person in my family that's responsible for me having a truck is our 15-year-old son who has his learner's permit who crashed my car. So,
we talked about that in another video. We talked about
the car crash, yeah.
Everybody's fine.
Yes, everyone's good.
Not the car.
The car not good. The car was totaled, so I have a new truck. So that's what's at the airport. And one day, in fact, I'll put a picture of it up because look at it. Oh, look at it. That color is called Cactus Gray. It's a Ford Ranger, and it's the thing I love 8th most in the world. Okay. I don't know. That made it enough. Okay. So, hey, we went through a toll just there. We'd like to put the tolls up for you to remind you that what the tolls are when you go. So, a trip to the airport from Winter Garden, Florida will cost you probably $2 or $3 probably in tolls. We'll add it up as we go. And
we're on 429 right now, by the way. We came off of Daniels Road, and right there at that intersection at Winter Garden Village is this main little junction, the main intersection to get you onto 429, which is one of the best roads through Winter Garden to get us to the turnpike.
And it's the bypass. We've taken it before to get this road sort of exists to get you through what's known as Horizon West to Disney. That's what it's here for. We're going the opposite way right now, so it's kind of a bypass road to get you to the turnpike, which is the first step in getting you toward the airport.
Right.
So today, so we do have a real estate topic for today, Amy, and we're going to talk about. We actually have two
Which
different
one are
things.
we going with?
Well, we have several, and we're going to probably do them all. But
okay.
Like last week, we talked about top 3 buyer mistakes. Let's talk about top 3 seller mistakes. Now, people think that you can't make a mistake in this market as a seller because it's a seller's market and it's so easy to sell.
Right.
But we see every day people making just tremendous mistakes. So talk to me about the number one mistake that sellers make, not just in this market, but in every market.
Overpricing your house.
Overpricing your house.
Yeah,
Say that again for the people in the back.
Overpricing your home.
Yes.
Not understanding that the market is what dictates it. We always understand, the value of anything is what someone is willing to pay for it. And that is certainly true in this market where people are paying overvalue, monetarily speaking, for
they're paying
the market
overpriced
value.
Whether they're paying overvalue is up to them.
The value is for them is more of a personal decision. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons that you reach out to a realtor is to, they're the ones that know what's going on in the market. They know what homes are selling for. And it's not just what things are listed for. I get this all the time. I get someone sending me a message, hey, this home in my neighborhood's on the market for X amount. Well, it doesn't mean it's going to sell for that amount.
Right.
One of the things that Eric has done, I'm a very visual person, and whenever we do our listing appointments, the home pulse that you've done is a great visual representation of taking the outside valuations from places like Zillow and who else do you get?
First American,
First
Redfin,
American,
Black Knight. Yep.
Some of those outside valuation sites. But the regular consumer is looking at Zillow, and they're putting all their faith in that, and they don't really understand exactly how that is not particularly accurate, so to speak. And that's why you want to get in touch with a realtor to let them help you accurately price your home. And by the way, there can be strategic pricing in your home as well.
Yes.
And that's what you need to talk to an agent about, about listing it and how that's going to best work for you financially. Sorry, merging on to the turnpike here.
So now we're on the turnpike. And I will say on the pricing thing, we agonize over on two ends. When we have clients that are buyers, we agonize over what to offer. And some of that it's more art these days because we're sort of thinking, what is someone else going to offer, and can we beat that on price and still live in the right value? So we've lost out on some deals that we were happy to lose out on because we're like, if someone's going to pay this much for that house, God bless them. We also have not made offers on houses that are still sitting on the market. I think there is a thought that nothing doesn't sell these days. Everything sells in a day. Not true, and becoming less and less true.
Right.
Because I think, do you have a sense buyers are done? In some ways,
yeah, I do. I mean, there's always that, well, I won't say they're always, but there's, in this market where we have such limited inventory, there is a sense of urgency for quite a few, buyers. By the way, the rules here in Florida, if you see the police car, you're supposed to get over
a lane, yes.
So we got over
good law.
It is a good law, but now I have to get back because I like to be in the right-hand lane. So my daddy told me, stay in the right-hand lane. Okay, anyway. Where were we?
We were talking about how some buyers are saying enough is enough.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one thing to know that in this market you've got to be competitive. You've got to be willing maybe to sacrifice something, and you may have to be willing to go over the asking price just to be competitive in a multiple offer situation. But there's also a limit to people's tolerance for that, and they're not stupid. Yeah. People are just like, look, I'm willing to, in this market, I understand that's kind of what we have to do. That's the way the game has been set, so we got to play it a little bit. But you know what? Maybe I don't want to play it, and so I do sense that.
So, I mean, a maxim in real estate, which has been true since we've been involved in real estate, is if it's not selling, it's probably not probably. If it's not selling, it's overpriced. Now, that sometimes you say, well, there's something wrong with the house. Well, yeah, so it's overpriced. So, like, if it needs a new septic tank, it's overpriced if it's not selling because someone will buy it if it's priced right, because they'll say, well, I can replace the septic tank, that's fine. But that's got to be built into the price. So there are sellers absolutely overpricing right now, and even in a market where sometimes we even look and say, wow, we have a couple stories that we're going to amalgamate into one story. But first I want to talk about service plazas in Florida. You see, it's a left exit.
Yeah.
So one of the great things about on the turnpike, there are service plazas. So it's a gas station.
Right.
It's actually on the turnpike.
Yes.
So you take a left exit so that, it's in the middle there.
It's like a rest stop, except it's gas station, convenience, there's restrooms.
And there's like a Wendy's and a KFC and there's all kinds of good stuff in there. But you have to know it's a left exit.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's weird because it's in the middle of the thing. But it's one of my favorite things about the turnpike. It really is.
You like the Turkey Lake Plaza?
It's Turkey Lake Plaza. There's Okahumpka Plaza, which is the next one up. Okay. I just like that. I just like that word. Okahumpka. Yeah, that's a town. It's a nice place to look into. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to amalgamate a couple stories, but because this happens a lot, people will call and say, "Hey, Amy, can you list my house?" We, and I'm gonna make this mistake 1A. Okay, mistake 1A about overpricing is allowing a realtor to tell you what you want to hear. You can find a realtor who will tell you that your house can sell for whatever you think you would like to sell it for. We don't do that. We actually do the valuations before we ask you what you think you want to sell it for. And we hold ourselves to it because I just did a call the other day with someone who I did the numbers and I said, listen, I'm not changing my numbers. My numbers are coming up on the screen in a minute. Tell me what you would like to sell your house for. Their number was $150,000 higher than my number. And that's not a criticism of them. That's, hey, I see that my neighbors are selling their houses for these unbelievable prices. So, hey, I'd move if I could get $150,000, well, in her case, $200,000 more than I paid for it 6 months ago, then I would move. So that's understandable. But this particular seller can probably find an agent to go, yeah, sure, I'll list it for that amount, and they probably are going to have it sit on the market and waste a lot of time and effort and money marketing their home, and it's just never going to sell at that price. It's just not. And again, that's not a criticism. It's just people on your own, you don't know what those things cost. Right. So if you are, I think it's a mistake to engage a professional. It doesn't have to be us. Engage a professional and get their opinion on your pricing first before you say. Right.
Before you have it set in your mind.
Because and one of the things we fight with is people get a thing in their mind. So we give them the honest. We don't play the game either of we're going to tell you low, so we know that when in your heart you go, I wish I could get another $25,000. That we go, okay, yeah, we'll raise that price. We don't do that. We tell you right up front, this is what we think it would and should sell for. And I don't know why the GPS has you going on I-4. We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. I know we're not.
Okay.
I just like to put it on.
Yeah. So anyway, still going down the turnpike.
Yes, we are going down the turnpike. There is an entrance to I-4, but we're going to pass that. That's the one beauty about Winter Garden, the airport, is that you never have to get on I-4.
Ladies and gentlemen, the number one rule of living in Central Florida is
avoid I-4.
Never go on I-4. If there is a bag of money on I-4 and all you have to do is get on I-4 and go get the bag of money, don't do it. Don't go on I-4. You have to go on I-4 every once in a while.
We have other ways.
But
yeah, no, like
just
seriously.
Don't go on I-4.
Whenever I, obviously I travel a lot, out to houses and neighborhoods and communities, and anytime they're taking me on I-4, I'm like, just I would rather the route take me another 15 to 30 minutes.
So you probably can't see, off in the distance there, you may be able to see it there. You can see the volcano for Volcano Bay at Universal. So Universal's right there. Fun spot is, there's the little arch that you can see in the distance there. That is the slingshot ride that you're insane because you ride that. Oh, no, thank you.
And it's the outlets, too.
And there's an outlet mall there, which is like really fantastic. As soon as you find a place to park, you can, good luck with that. But once you do find a place to park, it's
remember
great
where you parked.
Yeah, gracious.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true too. Okay, anyway, so we talked about overpricing, and that really is seller mistake number 1, 2, and 3. But let's go to mistake number 2, which is we sort of touched on, though, in a different way, doing it yourself. How, Amy, can't I just sell my house myself?
Well, you can try.
It does happen.
It does happen, and I think a lot of people in this market, they're going, oh, well, it's a seller's market, so what do I need a realtor for?
Yep.
And they don't understand that that the reason people know your home exists on the market is not necessarily by your little for sale by owner sign that you bought over at Staples,
right,
that you've, you know, stuck on a spare piece of wood shim in your garage.
Yeah.
It's by being on the MLS, and that only happens when you have a realtor. And I will tell you, you know, while we're kind of on that, this isn't really where we were going with this conversation.
Oh, good. A tangent.
There are limited listing services out there, and let me tell you, it is completely limited. And I think that that's a big mistake. You know, part of having a realtor help you is the marketing of the home, and whether or not it's a seller's market, you need to have the home marketed. It needs to get out there. And having been the buyer agent on many homes where it's in the MLS because they just paid a couple $1,000s to have somebody put it in there, there's literally no service attached to it.
Yeah. The information's usually bad.
It is, and like for instance, and I should, by the way, I'm nice. I shouldn't have done this, but of course I'm going to do it because I'm ethical and I'm honest. But the person essentially was a for sale by owner, except it was in the MLS because they paid something or some entity a little bit to put it in the MLS, but literally no service. There was no seller's property disclosure. Why? Because there was no service. There was no documents. There was no HOA disclosure. There was no information provided by the seller because the seller didn't know what they're supposed to do.
And just go back real quick. So a seller's property disclosure is you're required by law to tell a buyer, here's what, so at our house, we had a shingle or two blow off during a hurricane. We had that repaired. We had to disclose that. Well, there's nothing wrong with disclosing that, but it protects people from, oh yeah, we had a major flood the other, and we just patched the hole in the drywall, and that was it. If you're buying something, you want to know what that is. But a lot of times, these listings, they're like, hey, it's basically a for sale by owner. We'll put it on the MLS for you, and then you handle it.
And then,
But if you don't know what the laws and rules and things are to do, you're just in big trouble there. So a real estate agent for you does two things, I think, in particular. One is market expertise, which is in these days critical to know what things are, what's the price, what's the value, where to position yourself, when to put it on the market. You can make $50,000 on a home by putting it on the market on the right day of the week, right? So it just there are ways to do things potentially, yes. There's no guarantee of whatever.
Wait a minute. I'm not taking consult.
You are not.
By the way, can I vent for a minute?
Please, go ahead.
That's the second time. So, people who design the roads, when a lane all of a sudden that's a main road or a main lane, all of a sudden
our son-in-law's
becomes
a traffic engineer.
He is. Oh my gosh.
We're not talking about you.
We're not talking about you.
We love you. You do a good job.
That's the second time. So it used to be you could be in the far right-hand lane and you stay in the far right-hand lane. And then all of a sudden that far right-hand lane became the exit lane to I-4 with no indication that lane was going to be an exit lane ever. Right. Same thing happens on Consulate. You don't know you're in a lane that's a normal lane and then all of a sudden you're supposed to do whatever. Anyway, I'm
Vent over.
I'm venting over. Okay.
So
yes,
market expertise, and then marketing. It's our job is actually a marketing job, to market your home to sell. That's what we do. So if you don't have a way to market it, for example, we have right now probably 10 buyers that are actively looking for homes in this market.
We're getting on 528 now.
Yes, we're getting on 528, which I think used to be called the Beeline Expressway and now may be called the Beachline Expressway. I get the two confused and I apologize. I'll put on the screen. I'll do my research and I will let you know what it's called now. But I think it used to be called the Beeline Expressway. Anyway, Amy, you have 10 active buyers who would contract today if we found them the right thing.
Yes.
It's a little bit difficult to do. Tell me, how many for sale by owners are you aware of that they could buy? None. And it's not because they're not out there. It's just we don't know. Like, we don't have any way to find them. It's not that we wouldn't. If it's the right home for our client, we would pursue that. But we don't know where they are. We don't know where you are. So.
So don't do that. You're not doing yourself any good service by doing that. You could potentially be getting yourself in a mess too.
And I can
especially if you don't know what the documents are.
And I can hear people saying and thinking, yeah, but you guys are in real estate, so of course you want us to hire a realtor because, you make X percent of the sale. Well, that's true. And yes, we are probably biased in that way, but it's because we know how the thing works. and I don't know how you do it, and it's just so fraught with things that can go wrong.
Right.
That I don't get it. And by the way, if I see it for sale by owner, I immediately, in my valuation, cut the price.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking they've built the realtor commissions and things into their own personal profit, and they've probably overpriced the house. So it's almost always true.
So we're almost at the airport, so let's move on.
It's been about 20 minutes. Let's move on.
Move on.
Okay, so that was 2. So doing it by yourself and overpricing. And so sellers' mistakes, let's talk about the number 3 thing is not putting your best foot forward.
Right.
Tell me what that means.
That means not doing your due diligence as the seller to prep your home to sell. Quite honestly, I mean, I think most people, common sense, you would think about, cleaning your home.
Oh, can I tell a story?
Yeah.
Did I interrupt you like you were about to make the most important point of the whole drive?
That's fine.
Hey, by the way, Crayola World over there, like the Crayola experience.
Florida Mall.
Florida Mall is right there. So I went to do a showing for some clients from California, and we do a lot of virtual showings. So we go in and we take the camera, I do drones and whatever. And I went in and literally the house was gorgeous. Fantastic neighborhood. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Do you remember the one I'm talking about? You know what I was going to say? What did I tell you when I came home?
You can't get the smell of cat poop out of your nose.
They had 9 cats, love cats.
Love cats.
But 9 cats poop at least 9 times a day. And so this seller, the cats are in the house while the showing is going on. This house was priced in the 800s, okay? People, when they buy a house, even if it's built in 1925, they want to see a model home when they walk in. And they certainly don't want to smell your cat's poop. So that's the minor point of put your best, and so our buyer didn't even consider it because I walked outside and I said, listen, I have to tell you because we don't have smell-o-vision. If you were here, you would notice that this house, it's just an overwhelming animal smell, and I said, that it's a beautiful house. It's up to you, but you need to factor that in. And they waved it off right then. So, in other ways, people don't put their best foot forward.
Well, I mean, it is. It's cleaning your home. I always say thinning it out. You need to purge before you put it on the market. And I know that's hard, but it kind of gives you the excuse. All right, so let's face it. All of us have stuff in our home, projects that we want to do, things we need to complete or do or move or get rid of or toss or donate or recycle. And we just don't ever have the time to do it. And sometimes you need that push.
Yes.
So putting your home on the market, even if you're thinking you're going to do that in 6 months, the time is now to go ahead and start purging all of that. And I use the rule of half. That's just my personal thought process, meaning on your counters, remove half the stuff that's on your counters. Remove half the stuff on your bookshelves. Remove half the clothes in your closet. If you just do that, it's going to thin out the house, and it's going to look and show as though you've got far more room than you do, and you'll be amazed at what a visual difference.
It's true.
Kind of.
And Amy says this as someone who has too much stuff.
Yeah, I do.
You do have too much stuff.
I'm getting rid of half of it.
Nice. So now we have 4 times what we need instead of 8 times. You know, Kirkland's has a sale.
Shut. Okay. Anyway, so one other thing though, and by the way, keep me. I know where
You're
I am,
good.
but
Yeah.
I'm just like we're talking,
Yeah.
so I want to make sure I don't miss it. Like we did one time, and I was trying to rush to the airport, and I just missed it. Anyway, so another thing, just about kind of getting your home ready, kind of back to the cat poop.
Yes. Let's get back to the cat poop.
No.
Shall we?
I was showing a home once. True story, and the listing agent had to meet us there, which is okay. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but that's okay. So I met with my client and the listing agent, and we walked through the home, and the first thing we see, by the way, beautiful home, great community, great neighborhood. First thing we see is a toilet with the lid up. Had not been flushed in a long, long, long time. There was no poop in it, but lots of ickiness and lots of mold all around it. Because in Florida, it doesn't matter how clean you are, the absolute humidity and stuff that we have here can really create mold around the ring of your toilet if you don't clean it all the time. Anyway, but that wasn't the worst part.
Okay, what was the worst part?
So we already saw that, and we're like, okay, well, that's kind of nasty.
As you can see, we're sort of at the airport.
Yes, we're at the airport now. We're getting ready to exit. But then we go up into the owner's bedroom, and the bed was not made. The sheets were all kind of ruffled around. That's okay, but it's still kind of gross. It's still kind of gross.
It's not okay.
The worst part was the underwear that was sitting on the kitchen counter beside the sink.
Oh.
The man's underwear was underwear on this, like,
and this is not an uncommon story, which is so weird. If you were selling at a garage sale, if you were selling an old pair of shoes for $5, you would clean them off and make them presentable. But somehow people are selling a house for $500,000, and it doesn't occur to them to go, you know, this is a $500,000 business transaction. Perhaps I should put my best foot forward.
And some people do, by the way.
Most people do. I mean, it's just the ones stand out that don't.
There are times when people need to. And on that note, and we'll probably have to wrap this up here in a minute. One thing
we don't have to. We can just circle the airport.
No,
that's not.
Okay.
By the way, just go to the parking garage. It's fine because you can get out.
Terminal A.
A.
Okay.
Southwest.
All right. So one other thing that we I was just going to touch on briefly is inspections. So this is something, and whether or not you're listing a home here in Florida where we are and you want us to help you, or if you're in some other state and you've got to sell your home there, this is still information for any seller anywhere at any time in any market, which is whether or not you want to have a pre-listing inspection done. Now, let me tell you some train of thought. There are some realtors who are like, no, don't do a pre-listing inspection, because if something's wrong with the house, you're going to now have to disclose it.
Then you have to be honest.
I know, right?
How dare you be honest? My goodness.
You have to put it on the seller's property disclosure that we talked about, right? But in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I understand, but being proactive on any potential issue. So let's say you get a great inspection report back. That's great marketing material for your listing agent. Yep. They can go, look, we had a pre-listing inspection done. We're happy to provide you that report, so you can see that we are in fantastic shape. That is cool. Hey, Southwest. And then, but if it's not the greatest inspection report, then what that does is it gives you the opportunity to address any of those issues that are going to come up later anyway.
Yeah, they're not going to miss it.
Do you want to have
inspection?
Do you want to have your home under contract with a buyer, and you're struggling, and you're finally ready? You've got a buyer in hand, and everything is good to go, and then they do the inspection, and now they're on the fence and they're wobbling because you've got to renegotiate everything, or potentially even want to back out of the contract? Or do you want to know that perhaps you had a couple of smaller issues and you needed to invest some time and money in getting those issues either just addressed, replaced,
or
repaired,
price the house accordingly?
Exactly. Or price it disclosing, hey, look, the AC unit is going to have to be replaced in the next 2 years, and then you price it accordingly. Anyway, that's just one.
No, that's all good information. And by the way, we had a whole nother list of things to talk about that we'll have to talk about next time, because first two things that I've discovered. The trip to the airport, it's been about 27 minutes-ish, and we're here at the parking garage. It was about 25 minutes to actually get to the airport from Winter Garden, which is cool. The SunPass thing never works here. You got to pull a ticket. Oh, no, it worked.
It worked.
Woo!
Thank you, SunPass.
Okay. So we always, you're going up there. I know. We always park on the top level here, just because that's where, because that way I can always remember. I always park in the same row, because I always know that's where I'm going. Fun fact and trivia. Okay. The abbreviation for Orlando International Airport is
MCO.
MCO, and that stands for McCoy Field.
Oh.
McCoy Field. Now Amy has an ancestor named McCoy, was his first name, and so that's in the running for future grandchildren names, McCoy. But so McCoy Field is what this is. One of the busiest airports in America, and therefore in the world. And why is that? Why are all these people coming here? Disney's back. By the way, I flew, and Disney is back, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to tell me like they're increasing capacity. Fireworks are coming back. But I can tell you just from the airplane. There's sometimes you can tell more from, instead of market reports, you can just open your eyes and look around. Well, here you go. Look at all the parking lot has not been this full in forever.
A long time.
And there were so many.
Are we okay?
There are so many people that were on the plane coming to and from Disney. Wow. Like I was going to Austin, Texas, and a lot of Texans coming to go to Disney, and just everywhere. I mean, this parking lot has not been this full in 2 years, a year and a half.
It's good to see, though. It's good to kind of get back a little bit. So
I think our mayor, Jerry Deming, said the other day, he said we're back to being a a world destination again. Like we're psyched about it. So come on down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right.
And you're going to see my beautiful truck in a minute. It's under the cover.
Oh, yeah, under the cover.
But anyway, I showed you a picture of my truck. Thank you for joining us. We'll give you more seller stuff next week. We had a lot to do, but actually the trip was shorter than I expected it to be.
So you can see the whole point of it is when you're going to the airport, easy ride, no issues, no I-4, hallelujah there. All right, I'm going to have to stop this because now we've got people behind us and I got to get you out of the car.
You can loop around if you want. I mean, we'll stop the video. Bye.
All right, bye guys.
Say that.
Oh, happy house hunting.